What is up, everybody? It's Isaac of the Dead back with another video. Let's talk about Rings of Power, Episode 4. Spoilers in this video if you haven't seen it or if you just don't care. Really, it's dead on the algorithm on YouTube right now. So let's talk about Episode 4. I've been trying to catch up on it. Yes, so this episode we have Girl Boss Galadriel, as always. You know, she's a little bit more modest this season 2, that is. And she goes on to this mission with Elrond to go to Eregion to try and talk to Celebrimbor before Sauron gets to him. But little do they know that Sauron already is at Eregion, you know, forging the rings. All this stuff, like, you just forget the lore. I've said this in other videos. Many of other people have said this in other videos. You can just forget the lore. There's I don't even have to know the lore to know that this is bullshit. You know, these are events that do not happen coherently with each other. There are no hobbits in this time period in the Second Age. There are no wizards, no Astar, no Harfoots, none of that. Like, there's so much that should not be happening, and it's the thing that's disrespectful about this is the fact that Amazon and the creators would go out of their way to say that they are making the book that Tolkien never wrote. That's disrespectful, and that's why the fans have rejected this show, and that's why it's culturally dead now. It will forever be known as a failure. Just had to get that out of the way. But yes, Galadriel, you know, the girl boss that she is, she has to kill some orcs in this episode. So she does. She kills some orcs in this episode. Of course, that's after all the men run away and, you know, run to the forest, and she's like, I'm sacrificing myself to save you all, and turns out she just wanted to save the ring. She just wanted to save her ring. She gave it to Elrond, and so they all run off. She kills a bunch of orcs, and by the end of the episode, Adar, he kidnaps her. Yay, I guess. You know, Galadriel, the character, Tolkien's character, that is not this, like, girl boss, orc slayer, you know, chick, whatever. Galadriel was tall and fair, you know, she was like a good 6 foot tall. I mean, these are elves we're talking about, right? Well, Galadriel, this, you know, Gachadriel, as I said in my past reviews, Gachadriel is like fucking 4'7", dog. She's tiny. She's tiny. Just small detail there. And we're supposed to believe that she's taking out all these fucking orcs. So, another part of the story is Theo. I called him Dora, I think. I called him Dora in the first season. Dora and Don Lemonless. Shout out Nerdrotic for that one. Shout out to Nerdrotic and the Friday Night Tights crew for all of these cute little nicknames that we give them. So, Don Lemonless goes with Enceldor out into the forest to try and find Theo, and he gets captured by Ents. I didn't mind the Ents. I didn't think they were great. Like, I didn't think they looked that great. There was that message of, like, the deforestation of the world, because all the orcs that would go around, they'd deforest everything as they marched. Which is definitely something that's Tolkienian. You know, Tolkien was very much a tree hugger. He loved his nature. He loved, you know, the trees and the grass and all that stuff, right? So that wasn't, like, too dissimilar from Tolkien. However, what's ironic and kind of disrespectful about it is that it's Amazon, a billion-dollar corporation that is based off of this manufacturing. Like, they're full-on. You know, they're going to wipe out a whole forest to build up an Amazon warehouse. You know, so that's the weird part, right? And so, of course, this has gotten to the point where, like, you know how shows can go woke? Well, we're now at the point where culture and TV shows and movies get so woke that they do a circle on themselves and they sound based, which is insanity. But that's where we are now. That's what it's come to. So, the trees, right? Why am I blanking on it now? The Ents. They captured Theo. They captured these wild men. It turns out that the chick. So I forgot this. I totally forgot this in my other review a couple weeks ago. But the chick that Iseldor picks up, Iseldor starts having a crush on. She says that she was looking for her husband. Cucked Iseldor one time. Cucked him twice with Don Limitless whenever he popped in and did the little flippy. He flipped around. He did the flip. He did all the flippy shit. And then he killed a bunch of orcs. He did all the flippy. Killed all the Southlanders. She burns a tattoo on the back of her neck to get rid of the Southland mark. And she cucks Iseldor at any possible chance. I have zero faith in believing that this kid is going to end up killing Sauron or cutting the fingers off of Sauron and saving everybody in the War of the Last Alliance. But then again, when has this been Tolkienian at all? When has anybody respected Tolkien at this point in the history of the Rings of Power? So, they go to a village or something. Honestly, I wasn't paying attention to that part. As if there's really need to pay attention to any of this shit. So, this wild girl goes missing because she's a wild girl, and then they handcuff her. I'm trying to explain this as best I can. Iseldor and Don Limitless handcuff wild girl chick, and instead of her running off like a normal person in her situation would have done, she just kind of she lets them do whatever, right? She just kind of walks around with them. Iseldor even falls into a sinkhole. She even falls into a sinkhole. Iseldor falls into a sinkhole, and Don Limitless tries to get him out, and then gets sucked in. And then the prisoner girl could have ran away. Instead, she grabs a stick and pulls him out, and we find out one of the deep things, one of the lizard things, comes out. So random, unnecessary, wasted time. This whole show was a waste of fucking time. All over in Rhûn, in the desert of Rhûn, we have the Dark Wizard. We'll just call him Saruman, might as well, with steampunk, yes, steampunk, I want to say Easterlings. Steampunk Easterlings. What are the chances that everybody else in the world is race swapped to be black and brown and Asian and whatever, right? But whenever it comes to Easterlings, who are canonically darker skinned, they'll probably be a bunch of evil white men. So, evil white men. And Saruman, who's played by a good actor, I really like that actor. Sucks that he's involved in this dog shit. Saruman wants the other Istar, which is Dangolf. Dangolf, crackhead wizard Hunter Biden guy. So after he sent a tornado, wiping out the other two lesbian Harfoots, he goes around looking for him. Well, he stumbles upon this goat, right? And then once he finds the goat, he finds the goat fucker, who is supposed to be Tom Bombadil. Now, if you don't know who Tom Bombadil is, he's this mythical character from the Lord of the Rings books, and he doesn't make it in the Peter Jackson movie, so he's not as streamlined as many people think, unless you read the books, of course. Now, his origins have always been a mystery, and it's kind of been implied and assumed that he was sort of like an avatar for the One, for Illuvitar. Like, he's an avatar for Illuvitar, or like a avatar for Tolkien himself to be like in the story. Like, how Stan Lee makes cameos in all Marvel movies? Something like that. His origins have always been kind of mysterious, though, but he's very powerful in magic, but he also is kind of like a little Jar Jar-like, right? And so this Tom Bombadil, shows up, and we have crackhead wizard who's supposed to be a star. We're supposed to be led to believe that this guy is Gandalf, right? If this guy is supposed to be Gandalf, why the fuck is he learning magic from Tom Bombadil, the goat fucker? Because I don't even I don't remember Tom Bombadil fucking goats in Lord of the Rings and Fellowship or anything. When did that shit happen? What am I missing here? What's going on? When was any of these people in Rhûn? When were any of these people in Rhûn? So, a couple moments. I forgot the Barrow Downs and the Barrow Whites. The Barrow Whites look like shit. They look like shits. The Barrow Whites look like shit. That was the moment when I saw the Barrow Whites CGI. That was the moment where I finally was like, okay, I watched the first 3 episodes in a couple weeks. It took me a long time. I wasn't even sure if I was going to continue watching this show. Once I saw the Barrow White CGI, I was like, fuck. I have to finish this show. I can't not make a review off of this. I can't not take advantage of this. This is such dog shit. It's terrible. So, of course, the Barrow Whites and the Barrow Downs, got taken out by and she allows a dude to get killed by one of these things in order to save her own skin. Galadriel is just a bitch. She's a massive cunt this entire show. Oh, those a few key moments about this show that genuinely had me screaming. I was dying. I was rolling on the floor, losing my mind. Okay. First part that had me dying, okay, was Nori Brandy Tits and Fat Harfoot. I'm going to call them Goutfoots again. You remember the Goutfoots? The Goutfoots. So the 2 fat fucking Goutfoots are out in the middle of the desert of Rune because the tornado that the wizard crackhead Biden guy conjured flew them off into the middle of nowhere. So they're running from the Easterlings, and I fucking shit you not. Okay, they run into. I'm gonna put his face in the thumbnail because my editing here with OBS is not that great, but I'm gonna put the face of this guy in the thumbnail. Holy fucking Christ. When I saw that and his accent, the buck teeth, the fucked up hair, I was like, oh my god. What? This is Amazon's Lord of the Rings. This is Amazon's Rings of Power. This is what it's all come down to. This is diversity hires. This is believe all women. This is bad reboot infested nonsense. This is Amazon. This is disrespecting. So this is firing Tom Shippey. This is allowing Simon Tolkien to run shop on this shit. You have to see the dude's face. He's like, like it's so fucking. It was funny. One of these days when I'm not broke, going to college and making these low tier YouTube videos and reviews, I'm gonna come back, have higher quality videos, higher quality reviews, and I'm gonna start putting clips in these videos, and I'm gonna show y'all like. Show you all the dog shit I've been enduring because this is injustice. Why am I making myself go through pain like this? So it was funny as fuck to see this guy just randomly out of nowhere. His name is nothing, but I think like we're just gonna call him Jussie Smollett. All right. So they go back to the these burrows. These like sand burrows where there's a bunch of other dark Harfoots just like them. But it turns out they're not Harfoots. They are Stoors. We will call them Stools because maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that joke. Okay. Well, but we're going to call them the Stools. So the Stools talk about this. Oh, you're outsiders. You're not supposed to be here. Bear in mind, in the first couple pages of Fellowship, you get to explain the hobbits. You have the Harfoots, the Stoors, and the Fallowhides, who are all a different breed of hobbit. So they're all hobbits. The reason we don't call them hobbits here is because Amazon doesn't have the rights to the fucking Hobbit. Because you can't say Hobbit without getting sued by Warner Brothers. That's the fucking dumb shit about this show. These aren't Stoors. These aren't Harfoots. They're fucking hobbits. So they just can't say that. So we go to the Stool's butthole houses, and there's a girl boss leading the charge there. As always, has to be a black woman. Nothing wrong with being a black woman, by the way. Overweight or otherwise. But basically, she's like, Y'all need to get out of our place. That is a terrible accent of how I'm doing it, but you know what? They're not trying either. They're not trying either. So they show this woman shows Nori Brandy Tits an ancient Harfoot or store prophecy, a prophecy from ancient halflings. These motherfuckers weren't even around during this time. This is the Second Age. They're not even around, dog. How do you have ancient versions of them? Anyway, the prophecy is that there's a guy named Burroughs who left their land to go and find pastures of green, and then just kept wandering until he would return one day and tell them that he found the lands. Well, Nori explains, female Frodo explains to her, well, I don't think that Burroughs guy ever found what y'all were looking for, because one of his grandsons, who was our friend Sadok, you remember Sadok from the first season? The Bill Cosby looking dude? So, apparently he's the descendant of those Burroughs. They never found it. So instead of them finding what would essentially be the Shire, I assume, which I guess it would also be implied that this prophecy would mean that Nori Brandy Tits and Samantha Gamgee discover the Shire by the end of the series. That's if we make it that far, if it doesn't get canceled. But essentially, they didn't find the Shire, so the Burroughs led an entire group of halflings or Harfoots or whatever into murderous cult psychos who left people behind if they fell behind to their death. What the fuck? So that explains that. And then the Easterlings show up. And they're like, we're looking for some halflings. And then the Black Whammon leader's like, there are no halflings here. And I hopped out of my seat. I hopped out of my seat in tears when the Easterling leader just went, "Faw!" and just knocked her ass on the fucking ground. It was hilarious. I could not stop laughing. She was like, there are no halflings here. Whap! And just like, oh my god, I was dying. I was screaming because it was so fucking funny. I couldn't help it. Another thing later down the line that made me laugh my ass off was the Ents. When the Ents showed up, it was when the Wildling girl, we're gonna call them Wildlings, I guess. The Wildling girl starts turning against Enceldor and Don Lemonless, or Lemonade, and she pulls out a sword trying to fight him, and they're like, "Calm down, all right? Just put your panties back on and get back in the kitchen, please." Anyway, the Ents show up, and instead of the Ents being like, "Hey, I'm a tree and I talk real slow. I'm just gonna take my long ass fucking dangerous branch and whap." A second time, they do a double whammy on me, bro, and just like whaps her and she flies against a rock. I would have thought with that kind of force and acceleration and power, she would have turned into some fucking tomato soup against that rock. But goddamn, I'll be impressed if she survives, which she apparently did. But that moment where the Ent just like whops her out, I was like, this show's a fucking trip, dude. It's a trip. Forget about the lore, forget about a good story. Honestly, if this wasn't attached to Tolkien's name, the good professor's name, if it wasn't attached to the lore, then perhaps it could be seen at like the lore that they create is halfway decent. Amazon could have created something completely original. They really could have, and it would have at least had something like The Witcher. But the fact that it's supposed to be an adaptation, that's the part that people don't like, right? Not saying that any of it's really good, because really it isn't. But at least at some points, you could admit where it gets kind of interesting, where you could see the new ideas that they've brought up. But unfortunately, that's not what Tolkien wanted. That's not what Tolkien wanted. So it's disrespectful. And so, one last little bit that I noticed was when Elrond pulls out a sword from the asshole of the Barrow Downs. and starts wiping out the barrel whites with terrible fucking CGI. And he goes like, the lore states that only a sword of the barrel whites can defeat the barrel whites. Oh, and I'm like, wow. Only the lore says that, huh? Okay. Yeah, see, that's the kind of disrespectful bullshit that I'm talking about. Is the fact that, you know, they would even mention the word lore in something like this. But hey, what you gonna do about it? This has been Dice Together Dead, back with another review. And I'm gonna stick this one out. I'm gonna see it through. I'm gonna finish this show. I'm gonna do it until it's canceled or it's over. All right. I'm having so much fun laughing at this fucking clown show. Nothing really happens, but at least I have enough to rant about in a couple minute video. So y'all have a great day. Like, share. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll see y'all in the next one. Don't smoke crack. All right, let's see if I don't break this thing.